Greetings. Oops. I got a split screen again. Called, there we go. It's noisy outside. Someone's mowing the lawn. Or edging or what, eating, I don't know. It's tiring, this war, this race. Can't stop though, gotta keep going. And it's crazy that people believe and think other people in and of the world care about them, or at least behaving as if they do, worshiping, cheering them on, and they want to kill them all. And they always have been. And at the end, it will be manifested in a great and horrible way. Great in that it's huge, but horrible in that it's a lot of death. And it's on the Georgia Guidestones what the false gods of this world, including religions, gods, want to do, connected to Satan, God of this world that only comes to kill, steal, and destroy. Only conquer and divide, and conquering to conquer, the horse goes, to divide all up so it can try to gather them all back. And that's only why the United States exists, to do evil, to conquer and divide and kill everyone. And they think it's some kind of joke when they hear this in this world, you know. But that's no good. Telling someone, oh, do one thing, learn this one truth. We're of the truth. We have gematria. We got sports and the deception in sports, and they themselves blinded by what's going on in their own carnal specialization. Nothing to do with the heart and doing the Father's works. But it's all leading up to the end, and it doesn't seem far because it's not far away. It's incredibly close. And this corona crown, as it's always been vested to the crown, King James, and the letters readers to the people, appointed to be read in the churches of abomination and the synagogues of Satan. When we start seeing all these things, it's sad, but it's true. Nevertheless, the harlot churches, the congregation of the wicked, and the divided denominations, and building temples made with hands, of which the Most High Father does not dwell in temples made with hands. He never has. Only as a shadow and a type of what it really meant in the Old Covenant, dwelling in the temple made with hands, representing in his people. And those scriptures are for our admonition to learn from him and Messiah what it means, and that it's a big deal. You know, it seems stupid and foolish to the carnal man and unbelievers when they read, oh no, something's not out of order, something's out of place, something's not good, and you instantly die because this is a holy place here. See, all understandings and teachings of something greater, the real thing, but that's how it's manifested in the shadow and natural things, and that's why it's important. The Father never actually dwelled in temples made with hands, only in a type and a shadow, which is not the real thing. And so I've been told, I've heard, when truth is given, they make it act like that they do to some degree what we read, like they love God and things like this, and the Messiah, and that like they're doing his will or something. But when truth is given to them, they say things like, what are you, God? Are you Messiah? You can't do what he did. He's God. Let's read a little in John on what Messiah, the true Messiah, Yahushua, not called the God-man, Jesus Christ, anti-Messiah spirit, says. And Philip said to him, knowing that he didn't receive the Spirit yet, Master, show us the Father, and it is sufficient for us. Messiah said, Yahushua said to him, have I been with you so long, and yet you have not known me, Philip? He's asking out of understanding. He's not asking Philip out of having no clue. It's only for his benefit. That's it. It's out of truth. That needs to be understood at some point, that Messiah is not asking, and he's not doing sin by doing this. But they will say everything that's good is actually sin. Have I been with you so long, Philip, you have not known me? He who has me has seen the Father. Well, we don't see him physically, right? So this word's not for us. Well, it's pretty much over for the carnal man. So he has to create a religion where they can see a bunch of things. People cheering, jumping up and down, worshiping abomination and false prophets. He who has seen me has seen the Father, so how can you say, show us the Father? Do you not believe that I am in the Father and the Father in me? No, he doesn't. He can't believe that with the heart. The carnal man can't believe that in the heart. He needed to receive the Spirit still further. The words that I speak to you, I do not speak on my own authority. So, their Messiah is God. So our Messiah is saying, the words that I speak, I do not speak on my own. God's, the Creator, the third head, God, the eternal, coexisting. God, the Creator, does not speak on his own authority, but of the Father who dwells in me, but of God's authority who dwells in God and does the works. Messiah, God doesn't do the works, but his Father, God, does the work in God, who doesn't do the works. Believe me that I am in the Father and the Father in me, or else believe me for the sake of the works themselves. Most assuredly, I say to you, he who believes in me, the works that I do, he will do also, and greater works than these he will do, because I go to my Father. Because Messiah in the flesh did works what a natural man can only see and understand. Blinding, healed, healing those that can't walk, healing those that can't see, healing those that. So he's saying, what is it, John 12? Most assuredly, like very sure, I say to you, he who believes in me, the works that he does, that I do, he will also do also, he's saying. So anyone that says we aren't supposed to be doing what he's doing and becoming like him, we can read it plainly that those that believe in him will do what he does, will do what he does also. And greater works than these he will do, because he goes to the Father in heaven, no longer knowing Messiah in the flesh, natural, but in spirit, the spiritual things and higher heavenly things. And whatever you ask in my name that I will do, that the Father may be glorified in the Son. If you ask anything in my name, I will do it. If you love me, keep my commandments, and I will pray the Father, and he will give you another helper, that he may abide with you forever, the Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive, because it neither sees him nor knows him. But you know him, for he dwells with you and will be in you. I will not leave you orphans, I will come to you. He comes in spirit to his people, always true, doesn't matter what time it is. Messiah comes to his people in spirit. The helper, the comforter comes and doesn't leave them orphans. The Spirit of truth comes in his people. A little while longer and the world will see me no more, but you will see me, because I live, you will live also. At that day you will know that I am in my Father, and you in me, and I in you, all one in spirit. He's in the Father, and you in me, and I in you, and he who has my commandments and keeps them, it is he who loves me, and he who loves me will be loved by my Father, and I will love him and manifest myself to him. Judas, not Iscariot, said to him, Master, how is it that you will manifest yourself to us and not to the world? Messiah answered and said to him, if anyone loves me, he will keep my word, and my Father will love him, and we will come to him and make our home with him. Spiritual house being built, guarding the house. He who does not love me does not keep my words, and the word which you hear is not mine. Once again, the mockery of the false God, anti-Messiah. The word which you hear is not mine, God's, not the God of the creator of the heavens and earth, not mine, God's, who is also the creator, they say plainly. The word which you hear is not mine, his own, not God's, the creator's, but the Father's, God's, the creator, who sent me. It's not God, the creator. It's not God's, it's not the creator's, but it's God's, the Creator, who sent him. He who does not love me does not keep my words, and the word which you hear is not mine. All things given by the Father, but not mine, but the Father's who sent me. Even naturally, without seeing anything spiritually, this is abomination and corruption and contradiction beyond any kind of help or saving. Not God's, the Creator's, but it's the Father's, God, the Creator's. This is monstrous. Monstrous. That's what pride does, though. It doesn't care. It doesn't see. It's blind. These things I have spoken to you while being present with you, but the Helper, the set-apart Spirit, whom the Father will send in my name, he will teach you all things and bring to your remembrance all things that I said to you. Because when they listened to him, being led up to believe, they didn't understand. But who brings it to remembrance, all things that I said to you? The set-apart Spirit. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. Not as the world gives, do I give to you. Let not your heart be troubled, because the world's always saying peace, peace. It has nothing to do with the Father's peace. And that's why he said peace he gives is not the peace the world gives. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. You have heard me say to you, I am going away and coming back to you. If you love me, you would rejoice because I said, I am going to the Father, for my Father is greater than I. Now I have told you before it comes, that when it comes to pass, you may believe. I will no longer talk much with you, for the ruler of this world is coming. Nothing in me, but that the world may know that I love the Father, and as the Father gave a commandment, so I do. Arise, let us go from here. I am the true vine, and my Father is the vine dresser. Every branch in me that does not bear fruit, he takes away. And every branch that bears fruit, he prunes, that it may bear more fruit. So there's some pain involved, some cutting off. You are already clean because of the word which I have spoken. Abide in me, and I in you, as the branch cannot bear fruit of itself. As Messiah said of himself, he can do nothing, abiding in the Father only, able to do so. Then also, abide in me, and I in you, as the branch cannot bear fruit of itself, unless it abides in the vine, neither can you, unless you abide in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. He who abides in me, and I in him, bears much fruit. For without me, you can do nothing. And remembering what Messiah also said of himself, Messiah saying, of myself, I can do nothing, because the Father abides in Messiah. And now those that abide in Messiah also abide in the Father, because all one in the Spirit. For without me, you can do nothing. What does that mean? You can't build a house. You can't buy and sell merchandise. No, I'm talking about the good fruit that comes only from the Father above. Good works of the heart cannot be done without Messiah in us. If anyone does not abide in me, he is cast out as a branch and is withered. And they gather them and throw them into the fire, and they are burned, destroyed. If you abide in me, and my word abides in you, you will ask what you desire, and it shall be done for you. But this my Father is glorified by this, that you bear much fruit, so you will be my disciples, he commands. So you will be my disciples. As the Father loved me, I also loved you. Abide in my love. If you keep my commandments, you will abide in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. Messiah abiding in the Father, and us in Messiah who abided in the Father. And he's making it plain that this is the truth. If you keep my commandments, you will abide in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. These things I have spoken to you, that my joy may remain in you, and that your joy may be full. This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. Greater love has no one than this, than to lay down one's life for his friends. Oh, prideful beast. Is Messiah doing pride by speaking truth with no other intention? He's speaking of himself, laying down his own life. Is he allowed to do that? Is he doing that with pride and sin? The world says so with their heart. Their works prove it. You are my friends if you do whatever I command you. No longer do I call you servants, for a servant does not know what his master is doing. But I have called you friends, for all things that I heard from my Father I have made known to you. You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you, that you should go and bear fruit, and that your fruit should remain, that whatever you ask the Father in my name, he may give you. These things I command you, that you love one another. Well, that's a giant command. Can't be done without his Spirit. And it involves understanding his word. It's not just the phrase to be said and then we say it and that means we do it. It's monstrous. If the world hates you, you know that it hated me before it hated you. If you were of the world would love its own. Yet because you are not of the world, but I chose you out of the world, as Moses gets the people out of Egypt, the world. Messiah also doing, but spiritually, for real in the heart. But I chose you out of the world, therefore the world hates you. His people, no one else, his people. And they don't believe that there's been disciples afterwards. Not when they face truth and light. All of a sudden, everything they say, they don't believe in themselves. They try to prove that there are no disciples after the 12. I've already seen it and heard it face to face by Christianity. They do this with their heart, all of them. The world hates you. Remember the word that I said to you, a servant is not greater than his master. The servant's not greater than his master. If they persecuted me, they will also persecute you. If they kept my word, they will keep yours also. But all these things they will do to you for my name's sake, because they do not know him who sent me, the Creator, the Father. If I had not come and spoken to them, they would have no sin, but now they have no excuse for their sin. He who hates me hates the Father also, my Father also. If I had not done among them the works which no one else did, they would have no sin, but now they have seen and also hated both me and my Father. But this happened that the word might be fulfilled, which is written in their law. They hated me without a cause. Psalm 69:4. And Messiah, we read of him saying and doing this more than once that we can read, saying it's their scripture, their law. It's like a mockery. They don't do anything that they read or say or understand. Fulfilled, which is written in their law. Their law, whose? Those that claim to believe. He's specifically talking about them hating you, his people. Those who use his word and claim laws and commandments and use his word, the church world, everyone, the many called, will hate Messiah's people because the Gentiles, the nations, don't use his word. It's not written in their law. They don't claim anything. This is specifically about those that use his word and scripture. If they hate his Messiah's people, how much more clear, obviously, the rest of the world also that don't use his word and claim anything. They hated me without a cause, quoting scripture. But when the Helper comes, whom I shall send to you from the Father, the Spirit of truth, who proceeds from the Father, he will testify of me, and you will also bear witness, because you have been with me from the beginning. These things I have spoken to you, that you should not be made to stumble. They will put you out of the synagogues. Yes, the time is coming that whoever kills you will think that he offers God, Elohim, service. That's a serious delusion. And we have to see these words are spirit. Whoever murders with the sword, with their heart, thinks they offer service to God. So they say. And these things they will do to you, because they have not known the Father nor me. But these things I have told you, that when the time comes, you may remember that I told you of them. And these things I did not say to you at the beginning, because I was with you. But now I go away to him who sent me, and none of you ask me, where are you going? But because I have said these things to you, sorrow has filled your heart. Nevertheless, I tell you the truth. It is to your advantage that I go away. For if I do not go away, the Helper will not come to you. But if I depart, I will send him to you. And when he has come, he will convict the world of sin Yes, commanding everyone everywhere to repent. And because of the Spirit being poured out, the spiritual judgment began, and the world is convicted and condemned for anyone that doesn't believe by the Creator and no man. These words are true, that this conviction happens. And what we read started already as soon as the Spirit was poured out, and not some 70 AD long afterwards. Monstrous thing that deceivers try to do to deceive people in their kingdoms ruling as gods, saying that they're already in the age to come, that they already can't die as angels, already glorified. Yes, the carnal man is glorified. That's what their heart believes in, is what they're saying. That's exactly what they're saying with their heart. But they don't tell you that. They give you the carnal doctrine and lie. And when it's discerned by the Father and his Spirit, they're really saying that they're God and glorified, and that Adam is good and shining and glorified. As a beast, only doing evil works, they call glorified. With their heart, they already believe this. He will convict the world of sin and of righteousness and of judgment. Of sin, because they do not believe in me. Of righteousness, because I go to my Father and you see me no more. Of judgment, because the ruler of this world is judged. Uprooted, we could read, twice dead because of this Gehenna fire, spiritual judgment. The spiritual judgment in reality began. Things that were always true would be reality and revealed now. But it wasn't so before Messiah's time. The devil had power in the heavens, in the heart, over all people, and nobody crushed the serpent of the head before Messiah did. And that's the Father's works only, doing it in Messiah, to crush the works, the spiritual wickedness in high places where the devil was, crushing those works and overcoming actual sin and death. No reality in a masquerade with carnal natural things, no reality, only looking good. Not crushing the serpent's head, looking like you're crushing the serpent's head, has nothing to do with crushing the serpent's head in reality, which is evil works in the heart being crushed. And no one did it before Messiah. No one was spiritual before him. No one had the Father in him like he did until him, and then afterwards those that would believe. I still have many things to say to you, but cannot bear them now. But you cannot bear them now. However, when he, the Spirit of truth, has come, he will guide you into all truth, for he will not speak on his own authority, but whatever he hears, he will speak, and he will tell you things to come. He will glorify me, for he will take of what is mine and declare it to you, for things and good works and true doctrine. They will always despise it and call it prideful, and all you have to do is quote the scripture of Messiah saying what they hate. They never believed it all along. Suddenly, when you do what's been given by the Father to do, suddenly it's prideful and wicked, and the good fruits are wicked all of a sudden. All things that the Father has are mine sounds prideful to the carnal man that doesn't have anything. So Cain is envious of what he doesn't have, of Abel. They don't know what that means, and kills him because of this envy, the seed of the serpent, and Abel representing the seed of the woman as a natural type, and not reality yet, but always was true in a natural type first. The offerings of Abel is accepted, representing spiritual offering and spiritual worship and true worship and good works. And Cain's offering is not accepted. The literal offering is lacking literally, representing the evil works and not going his way. And so all of the many called are envious, all of them, of whoever Messiah's people are, because their offering's not accepted. But they are told, won't it be good for you? Do what's right. Sin knocks at the door. You got to overcome, step on it, resist it, to Cain. But we learn we can't do this by our own works, and yet those words are true. So Cain is very envious of Abel, and this is evil, and this is bad. And I can't wait till it all goes away, because it's nasty, and it will someday go away. because death is going to be conquered. But this Cain and Abel thing, they're not seeing how true this is for anybody, that their offering is lacking. They're not going through the right door, not denying self. And Cain is told, whatever we read there, if you do this, won't you be accepted? And he moves away from the presence of the Creator after killing his own brother, in a natural type, giving us what the many called in religion should be spiritually brothers of Messiah's people. They're envious with their heart, and by sword they fight, and so they die by sword, because Messiah is not speaking of grabbing a sword and stabbing someone. Obviously that would be evil. Obviously that's like the childish, it requires an evil heart to do that, but he's speaking of murder in the heart. Those that live by it right now die by it, because the Father's judgment comes back on them. So then when we do good, good comes back, and they don't want to go through the narrow gate, the narrow way, which is only denial, and through Messiah, denial of self, death of self. So Messiah is saying the world will hate you because they don't know the Father and they don't know Messiah. You're not greater than the Master. If they persecuted me, they will persecute you. And he's talking specifically those that should be their brothers, because he says it's written in their law. He's talking about people that use his word. The religious many called will hate you and persecute you, let alone the rest of the world. That's a given. The nations, the unbelieving, not claiming to believe anything, will obviously hate Messiah's people. But he's talking about those that use his word, and specifically, sitting in Moses' seat, it's written in their law. They hated me without a cause. He's talking about them hating his people, which is a sore evil because of what they're supposed to be. It's a great evil, and that's like the tribulation, the spiritual tribulation, the spiritual war, where there's a real murder in the heart and hatred, and it's as good as someone being dead. To Cain, Abel is dead to him, but we see it manifested. But it's for us to see what the heart's doing, that's just as bad if the heart does that to someone's mind and heart that murders someone else. That other person, to their mind and heart, is dead to them. They murdered them and they're worthless, and they could care less if they do die. But they'll say anything to make it sound like that's not true. Don't care about what people say, and this is the evil that we need to overcome. The only way to crush the serpent's head is have Messiah in us to do the works and crush the serpent's works, which is evil works in the heart. The Messiah crushed the head of the serpent, and that prophecy in Genesis was prophecy that's always working. It's still working, although something major has happened 1900 something years ago. There was no one to crush the head of the serpent until Messiah, until the gift was revealed, until the promise was revealed, which is a promise of receiving more promises. But this promise wasn't revealed to carnal Israel or anyone. It wasn't their fault in this way, but all things natural. All things looking like something, but it's connected with the heart, and that's what's lacking to fulfill the law, to really do what this thing means. Don't murder. To really do what don't steal means. To really do with the heart, don't lie. And not just to look good. That's not good enough. That's garbage to the Creator. That's the masquerade. That's what the enemy looks like he's doing right, looking as a messenger of light, saying, you know good and evil, you shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. And it was a lie. Adam and Eve didn't know good and evil. Nobody did as a carnal man. But he's saying in their mind and heart, you do already know spiritual things, good and evil already conquered, and and this is pride, because there's no actual reality in that. It's the opposite is true. Don't know anything. But the enemy says to the heart, yes, you know already good and evil and are God, and a fool can't be corrected because of this pride in the heart. A fool in the heart, he can't receive correction ever. and they don't like the authority above them, because that's like the nature of a rebellious child, is they hate authority, and they don't believe that the Father gives authority to the few that believe, and it's not their own teaching and it's not their own works, and they won't believe it, just like they didn't believe Messiah. He said they won't believe you either. Do evil and persecute you too. You should expect it. Can't run from it. Should expect it. Expect nothing less. There is no authority to the carnal man. He's in rebellion. That's what rebellion is, a lack of any authority. No one tells him what to do or corrects him. So the Father allows this thing to be, but it's only in a punishment and blinding and deception that this can all be true. There's no reality. The actual reality and truth with clarity is that continual sin, the person is blind and knows nothing. That's the reality. Thinking it can do its own thing and knows everything and is good and doesn't need correction and is not blind and utterly deceived, only in a delusion can it continue to sin. Knowing nothing, thinking they know. And the only way to know is to do the Father's will, deny ourselves, which is a humbling. The only way to get anything for real from the Father is going through this narrow way of death, walk death, which is an utter humbling. And they call it pride when they see it. They call it pride of just speaking things that you've been given, and they will not believe you. They'll say, what, you're God, because they see confidence and the authority comes from above it. It's disgusting to them, because a child has no confidence. So it's envious that it's starting to see something. It doesn't know what it is because nobody else around them has any confidence in any truth, and contradict all day long in reality, nothing but contradictions in the heart, contradicting his word day and night. And so when they see anything that's true and good and confidence and truth and good works, it's envious. It didn't believe it actually existed. Didn't ever want to be a believer in this world. Doesn't believe there are any in religion. I don't say what the mouth says. This is what the heart says, and they've proven it over and over, and we can read about it over and over. In religion, it's just talking about nonsense. It doesn't actually believe that there's believers, a few, that the Father exists and is in a few. This is the darkness that the world's in. The Messiah says the world cannot see him or know him, cannot receive the Spirit of truth. The world cannot. There's no way. It's impossible. There's only one way. It's to come out of this world, which is dying to self, believing. But this world, speaking of this world and of this world, cannot know him or see him. If they understood this thing, they would know that Messiah's people can't be seen in this world. They'll be viewed as a dung heap, a worthless thing ready to be murdered, which they will at the end seek them out to kill them all, and billions of others will die also. Yes, they will, because they're going to do what Herod did as a type, a little picture of something much worse to come at the end. Kill a bunch of babies just to get to one. That's the example. Messiah is the example. But they've always been doing this spiritually. They've always been doing this murder. It's always been true. So who cares about the literal thing? And yet, it's not worthless. It's only good to start seeing and understanding this if we're understanding the important things and doing it. Then we can maybe say something about what might happen at the end. What will happen at the end? It will be something like that. They'll seek out the believers to seek, kill, and destroy. Seeking is searching. Seek and destroy. Why do they love that so much? Why did I love that so much? And now I'm learning to hate it because of what it really is. People think they know why they're listening to that. They like it because that's what their heart is. I don't care what they say. They like it because they murder and seek out to destroy every day. A lion needs to eat something. It murders people in the heart. It seeks out to destroy. It causes strife on purpose. It stirs the pot on purpose so it can get in a fist fight and murder and condemn and point fingers. It does this all day long. And I never seen it years ago. not understanding why these things happen over and over, and all of a sudden seeing the stupid pride and blinding. They do it on purpose. They want you to hate them. They want Messiah's people to kill them. They want you to chase them. What's the command? Don't resist evil. Oh, that's a big command. Yeah, that takes a lifetime of receiving from the Father on how to do this. I love my enemies. Resist evil. Talking about the heart, real things, not a joke. This can't be done by man's works or power. Messiah said, of myself I can do nothing. He couldn't do this. He didn't do this. No one ever did. It's the Father's Spirit that did it in Messiah, not Messiah's power of the flesh. The flesh profits nothing and can do nothing. They don't believe it. That's why it's monstrous that they're God, Messiah. Not because of the doctrine on the surface, because, Messiah is not God. And then that's it. That's like all. It's because of what it means and what the reality of that means. Well, that's why it's monstrous. To every sin connected to rebellion and the false anti-Messiah, the prideful God. Satan is saying you're God, tempting us. We're God, 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 and you know everything already. You can't be corrected. In the heart, when someone can say words and say sorry on, in Hollywood and with the cameras, their heart's not doing that. Don't be deceived. It cannot even do that apart from the Father's Spirit, which grants repentance. The heart cannot repent unless it receives his mercy. The heart's never repenting. A fool does not receive correction, and that means the real thing in the heart, not saying words. The Creator's not saying anything about saying words. His word is spirit. It's always about the heart. Everything about spiritual things, spirit, real things. A fool does not receive correction ever in all its life. In the heart, it walks away right anyways. It doesn't matter. It convinces itself. And then more blinding comes while they're doing that. That's the scary part. And then the preacher man goes out and does the exact same thing after being confounded by a donkey. After shown just even naturally how much contradictions and lies they teach with his word, let alone seeing the spiritual things they cannot see. They're confounded even with natural examples in scriptures, proven that they don't actually believe them, because a natural man can't be confounded any other way except naturally. He can't see anything spiritual. So in his word, for every lie, there's a simple and natural way to confound. I'm not saying go out and this is not like some kind of, we're not supposed to like have some kind of evil intention with this. It's just truth that this will happen. And there's a way for every lie. There's simple scriptures that they cannot believe in their heart. They cannot believe them. When a little truth is given on this or that, and a question and a contradiction is revealed, all of a sudden they're exposed as not believing all kinds of simple scriptures. And then they run away from that and don't care. And that's the definition of a cowardly and fearful, running from good, running from truth, running quick with their feet to run to evil. He's always been talking about the heart. The heart is doing this, man. It's seeking out to destroy someone every day. The wicked don't sleep unless they do evil. When they say, I'll sleep at night, yeah, they're saying that out of a wicked heart. They're saying out of that with no conscience at all, seared with a hot iron. Concerning real things in the heart, it's wicked. Who cares what it looks like? Time to put that away. It's childish and evil. They never say what they believe, and they don't believe what they say. That's how he's given me to say it, because it's just, that's what I see. That's it. They don't believe what they say. The words they say, they don't even understand or believe, and they never say what they believe. Their doctrine's exposed as believing, evil, prideful things in the heart. It's reduced, deduced, and discerned. And that's the secret leaven they pump in, like a crazy carnal man, full of lust and out of control, ready to go use some whore and abuse her for his own pleasure. That's it. That's the only reason he's there. There's no other intention or reason. So then spiritually, the false prophets have no other intention with their heart except to have spiritual orgies and spiritual sex with demons so that they can use and abuse them out of a spiritual worship and pride and control people and get worship from them. How can anyone deny this? That's what rock stars, it's what they do. They get worship from the crowd. It's just like the false prophet. No difference. And that's why Messiah says that prostitutes will enter the kingdom before these people do, because what they do is even worse than the prostitutes. It's worse. They do the exact same thing with their heart, but using the Creator's word and scripture as a cover instead of just being a rock star. It'd be better if they were a rock star deceiving people than a false prophet using his word. It's worse. It truly is. There's no such thing as smooth words because the false prophet utters smooth words. We could read it. So then all smooth words in this world are lies because all the world is a lie. So smooth words is just telling people what they want to hear already. Hard words are all the Father's words because of what this world is. All his word is hard. Who can hear it? Cuts to the heart. It either drives away or draws near. It's doing one of those two at all times. His word goes out and it doesn't come back void. It accomplishes exactly what he desires. And not just for believer, like for good or something, but on the other side, accomplishing exactly what it needs to also, driving away, judging, confusing, sending delusion, and sending into darkness even more. It's doing all that just as he pleases for a judgment. So his word's going out and accomplishing exactly what he wants perfectly. They killed Messiah, and it accomplished what the Father wanted anyways. Even through their rebellion, he still gets his will done. Pretty scary if someone could even see a tiny bit of this, that no matter what man does, it's accomplishing his purpose perfectly. Even through delusion and rebellion, no one is actually confounding the Father. It doesn't actually exist. Zero. It's never happened. It never will happen. And there's a lot of examples we could talk about in scripture about this. That's how he's working for his people, good through the evil. It's working out something good anyways, that without going through the evil, it wouldn't have been the same like that. Jacob got his birthright through deception and sin, and it worked out. Jacob I loved, Esau I hated. Through Jacob sinning and deceiving with his mom, his dad, he gets the birthright through doing evil. The Father's not teaching to do evil. The teaching is teaching his sovereignty, that even through the evil, things will work out for the good of his people. That the command before they're even born is Jacob's going to be chosen and Esau is not right now. That's the truth, because Esau didn't receive the birthright. He's, sold. We know the story. Teaching also that someone that's born first, it doesn't mean anything all by itself, because Jacob got the birthright and he was born second after. So it never meant that someone that's literally born first. It's just teaching that there is a firstborn, those that are born first in Messiah that believe. It's just teaching that exists. Someone's born first. The others will be born also, but some are first fruits, born first. And then with Jacob and Esau, he's also teaching that it's not about being born literally first, because Jacob gets the birthright and he's not born first. An example of teaching that it's not about the flesh. The flesh can't determine or have any kind of say concerning the kingdom of heaven. Male, female, born first, born second, flesh things don't profit anything concerning the kingdom of heaven and being a believer born. But the Hebrew Israelites and all these divisions and people out there, they talk about these things. They hate the white man. They have a murderous heart and all these confusions and divisions. And they've been blinded into believing in horribly stupid, evil things that are contradicting and blind, like someone that's got certain blood And if you don't, you're screwed and will burn in hell forever. It's monstrous. Flesh, they don't believe Messiah. The flesh profits nothing. Maybe because they don't have him. How could they not hear those words? How can they not hear those words that Messiah said? So if you were to speak those words and show them their error, they would murder you, because a fool does not receive correction. And then they would run away and continue to do what they did already. The delusions given to them by the Father. And maybe someone's delusion is gematria, or maybe someone's delusion is sports, and maybe someone's delusion is specializing in the Greek text, and we need to prove God exists because this text exists, or whatever. Trillions of carnal things like this that have nothing to do with the heart and nothing to do with learning and growing in Messiah and doing good works. Nothing to do with loving others. As amazing as that is, as simple as it sounds, still nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with overcoming lies, because if someone's lying to someone else, they don't love them. Sorry, they don't. Because lying is not love, it's evil. So that loving others as Messiah loves his people, if someone has this love, they're going to stop lying to other people and start overcoming lying, because that's what they'll care about and ask about. So those that continue to lie, they can say what they want. They don't love their neighbor as themselves because they lie. And the false prophets don't love any of the sheep because they lie. It's not even possible. There's no such thing as actually loving someone while continuing to lie to them. And that's why Messiah says the hireling does not care. The hireling does not care. And if trouble comes, they run. It's like a chicken and all the hens get killed. They could care less as long as it saves its own life. That's all it was there for anyways, is getting fame and money and riches and glory from people. And you need people to receive all that. So they just use them spiritually, like a harlot, like a whore gets used. Oh, but they make it sound convincing with words, right? Yes, they do. They make it sound so convincing, the enemy has done this, that when they're exposed, the exposing makes us look evil for just telling what we see, makes us look viciously evil for telling the truth, because no one hates more than their heart being exposed and their cover blown. But that's not why we're doing anything. Not going around on purpose to unbelievers and going, you're sinner, you're wicked, and exposing their deeds like that with that intention. Don't they know that Noah can't stand having his nakedness? He starts raging in wrath and foaming at the mouth, because that's what a person hates the most, is if someone sees their nakedness and laughs at them. So the others, as a type and example, because Noah's still carnal, but he's a type of saint, righteous as a type of the Father's favor, who's still literally carnal, because Messiah hasn't come yet. There was no way to overcome sin and death for real, but as a natural saint, an old covenant saint, and as a teaching for us, they walk in backwards, because it's not to look on purpose and laugh at someone, because they would be laughing at themselves as a hypocrite. But one of them doesn't do that, right? And laughs. And what does the Father judge? Even if that person did some kind of sin and had a fall, the person that laughs at the person that had a fall is going to get a strong judgment back for doing that, even though the person could have done some sin and fell, and the person's laughing and saying, ha, you did this. That person with that wicked heart will be judged and blinded. If anything, worse than the one that fell, because it's an evil thing to do and want to do. And Messiah never did this. He just spoke truth, exposing the darkness and evil without having an intention to do this evil thing in the heart. These two things can't be seen, can't be done by the power of man. It's impossible. It literally needs to come from above to see it, and then rightly divide between two things and also do it. doing one without doing the other, doing one good thing without doing the other evil thing right next to it that seems so close, so near, rightly dividing the two things. And that's why I thought it was just for the sake of being funny or something. Now we'll just put this in there. A guy has his robe stripped from him and he flees, runs away naked. We read that in Mark somewhere. Why is that in there? We're talking about this, and then all of a sudden that's in there, and it seems out of the blue, and then back to whatever we were reading. Because it's showing us something. He's showing me. I thought it was just there and some time back. Is just like, what is this? Just to be funny? No, I was in error. It's showing the same thing. Those that stripped the clothes off of him and point and laugh at the sin, the nakedness representing the sin, shame and nakedness representing sin, the shame of nakedness representing sin, the shame, same as sin, and point and laugh and want to strip their clothes off like that and point and laugh are doing great evil. And they themselves laugh with a crooked, childish laugh mixed with hypocrisy and stupidity and foolishness and shame, because they just did that to themselves, because that's what they themselves are, naked, doing evil. And they have to do that to others because of them being like that themselves in sin. They have to go and step on people and be a god in its own mind to show how much better it is than someone else, constantly, spiritually, with the heart doing this. And that's what they do to Messiah's people, the many called. It's only to be perceived in spirit, to see the heart and thoughts and intentions of the heart as Messiah. Perceive their thoughts, perceive their heart on why they're doing what they're doing. That's why we read that. They're doing evil, but while they're doing evil, they think nobody can see the evil they're doing. They think that what they're doing is wise, and it's literally a 5-year-old going up to a 50-year-old parent. And the 50-year-old parent looks in unbelief that the child actually believes in its own mind that it's tricking them while it's doing some kind of joke, prank, and evil. It thinks it's wise, and it's actually an utter fool. I mean, welcome to reality, all the carnal people that do this continually. They've never done anything wise in their life yet, because wisdom comes from above and not from man. It doesn't come from below, from carnality, from the earth, from dust, from carnality. So anytime someone attacks, they're blinded by the Father, so that they do stupid while they do this, because it's not allowed to do this without being in delusion, because he doesn't accept it as judgment. They literally in their heart think they're wise and like it when they do evil. They smirk in their own heart when they do evil. Christians love it when they do evil in their heart and attack, just like the Pharisees attacked Messiah. They're not who they make themselves out to be. They're wolves inside with a sheep's skin to cover their sins, a cloak, hiding under this cloak, just like Adam and Eve covers himself and runs to the trees, hiding what it really is, never allowed to show what it really is. This is a severe slavery to sin, the slave driver for it, for the enemy and sin. In prison, never able to do what it wants to do, which is go outside of the prison and do what it is, be a beast. Because of this cover, because of the Father's judgment, because of how he made all things to be a prison for those in sin. They can never be and do what they really are. They always have to watch out with deception on how to look in this situation or that. They think on how to do evil constantly without even realizing that's all they ever do is think how to do evil. They've never seen good yet, never done it. And anyone without him has never done it yet. Same for all, say it true for all. Why don't they want to hear this? They don't believe Genesis. The intent of the thoughts of the heart is only evil continually. The intentions and thoughts of the heart is only evil continually. But it got flooded for some other reason, demons and stuff and whatever they say. And when they do say flood or something that makes it sound like they believe that. And they're exposed for not believing any of it at all. But in the meantime, when there's no light around them, exposing lies, exposing those that contradict in this way, exposing their lies, which is different and divided between wanting to strip someone's cloak off with an evil, wicked heart, but only having an intention in the heart to reveal truth and expose lies, which is revealing truth. They're one and the same thing, as no one can be a light in this world without also exposing darkness, as the sun in the sky does. Can't give truth without exposing lies, as Messiah did. And there's a difference there to be perceived by his people. Completely different than having wicked intentions inside, and I'm going to go and attack, steal, and kill and destroy this person, try to make it look like they're evil, put sin on them, and then destroy them, point the finger, and hopefully they're destroyed after I bite them with the venom. And when a snake sees that it didn't do what it was supposed to, which is kill them, the snake is in shock. And the Father says, raise up, come to heaven. And everyone's in fear, cowardly fear, because what they did was wanting to rejoice over the people they kill on the streets. They don't know what that scripture means. It's always been true since Adam and Eve, since Cain and Abel. A wicked heart, doesn't matter what religion, doesn't matter what anyone says with words, is the same as another wicked heart and deceitful above all things. It rejoices in the righteous, thinking they killed them. That's how evil it is, actually. And when they see that they're not actually dead and killed, that the venom did not do what they thought, snake thought it would do, which is spiritually kill and destroy them, take them down. They're in cowardly fear, and a strong judgment comes on them. Ooh, it's a strong judgment when they do this. Well, you let the Creator take vengeance on the people for their own works. We don't have to. And if we do, then that vengeance won't come on them in the same way anyways. Vengeance is the Creator's and nobody else's. He repays for doing someone evil. It all comes together and makes sense and flows together with every other truth to love your enemies, not resist evil. I mean, I get a little messed up with resist, not resist. What Messiah says there. Don't resist evil. Let it be. Let whatever they be. That's what he's saying. Because the Father will judge and he's protecting. And he can't really show that. And you can't really do that if you are seeking vengeance constantly. What protection? He's going to judge the person attacking that sought after vengeance, let alone protect them. It's coming back on them. And the person won't get the same vengeance judgment back because we are ready. According to our word, he lets it be. Oh, you repaid. Okay, that's what's repaid then. You did it. You said you will. That's who the Father is. He will do it like that. You say you repay, let it be according to your word. Let's see how it works. And then he actually repays you for repaying. And the other person doesn't get repaid the same way it should have been. The apostle says that coppersmith guy did me much evil. Who knows what he did? I can understand it. And anybody else in Messiah can understand the evil they do. Whatever he did was a lot of evil in a wicked heart. But he says, may the Creator repay him according to his works. And they walk away, not doing anything back with the heart, let alone with a sword. That doesn't count. Resisting like an animal to stab someone, that doesn't count for righteousness. It's not doing it in the heart, vengeance back. The only thing his word is talking about. That's it. Nothing else. To be revealed to those that know Messiah and the Father, that the Father's not a carnal man. He's not talking about looking good only. There's nothing wrong with looking good, but it's only good if it's actually good in the heart. doing the Father's works in the heart. And these two things line up and agree with each other and not contradict. It's murder, don't murder is only good if the murder's not being done in the heart. Otherwise, it's breaking the law every day if it's not keeping you shall not murder in the heart. It doesn't murder people for real. Yeah, but the Messiah will say, workers of lawlessness, I never knew you, because lawlessness is murder in the heart. That's the real sin. The only thing restraining someone from murdering them is the leash and restrainment. That's like being in prison, not able to do what you really want. If the heart is actual murder, it would like to kill that person, but it's restrained a little bit. Why? Even for pride and selfishness, I might go to prison. I might get hurt. I. But if the Creator releases a little bit of this restraint and leash, well, then it's going to go do what its heart has always been and go and kill people and rob people. And then the people that don't do that literally point the finger and say they're going to burn in hell forever while their heart does those things. Who's the greater fool then? We'll find out someday who the greater fool was. Well, it's not the prostitute that's the greater fool. It's the one that claims to be perfect, good, and righteous in religion, making a show for it, while breaking all of the spiritual law continually. That's the greater fool. Let there not be too many teachers because of this hypocrisy. It's like a warning. Be careful. But who cares? And it's just another day in the new heavens and earth over here. Well, it's actually night. I'm pretty close to fully night. But who cares? That's the sad thing. I just can't find anyone that cares, but I'm not really looking. Although I'm keeping my eyes open, but I'm not like literally looking. That would be like not to believe in the Creator's will. And if he sends, he sends. If not, well, then I have to deal with it. That's it. It's not doing our own stupid way. But we don't do his will perfectly on day one. That's a fact. But whatever we don't know, we don't know. And it's like a genuine not knowing or not able to know. But then as he gives, then you know. And to him who knows and doesn't do it, it's sin now. Before they knew, it's not counted as the exact same thing with the Father. But now that they know and don't do, well, okay, now he knows. Now it's like a judgment. Now it's coming on them. Now it's like time to overcome this thing if you want this thing lifted off. He's a perfect, righteous judge all over the earth. His judgments are being manifested. Who believes such things? When we start speaking of his judgments and how they exist and give a little bit of an example, all day long, all I've ever heard from religion and Christianity is, are you saying this? When they do that, it tells me they don't believe in the Creator and don't know or care or believe in his judgments at all. How else could they do that? That's the discernment in the heart that's picked up and discerned the Spirit. How on earth could it say such a thing out of its heart, saying such a thing, as if what we say, what they read 10,000 times about his judgments is evil? Are you saying this? They're trying to prove it's evil, trying to prove you're evil. They're just saying what they don't believe, that they can read over and over again, and they don't realize it's in there 10,000 times. It's the scary thing when it's blind. I don't know. Maybe I'll do it. I haven't done it that I can remember. Maybe I have in some point, but I forgot how many times the word judgment and or judgments is in his word, let alone all the times it's not when it's still teaching it anyways. Pretty much all his word then. Everything is being judged. Why is it a sin to judge a brother, but it's some kind of evil way? this isn't an evil way, but if we don't ask the Creator for understanding, it's going to sound like something, and whatever it sounds like will be a lie and a contradiction when we read in John or wherever we read. And whoever judges his brother judges the law, because there's only one lawgiver, the Creator. And how is judging a brother like that judging the law, which is actually judging the lawgiver, the Creator? And see, right away you stepped on, did a massive prideful thing there to act as if it's God judging the law, the Creator, in some kind of negative way, as if it's God. It doesn't even know what it means to be a God in its own heart. It doesn't know. Carnal man doesn't know. It does it all the time. It doesn't know. Try to tell them, try to help them, and they attack and murder. It's an evil judgment. I can't put what I see in my mind, but in that scripture, they're trying to say it with words. It's like an evil kind of judgment. It's out of doing something out of an evil heart there, because rebuke your brother is the command. Rebuke. The one that walks away and just lets it be eats judgment, and judgment will come back on the one for not rebuking sharply. But discernment needs to be given between who a brother is and not. For a brother, for another believer, actually rebuke sharply. And yet we're reading, if you judge a brother, you judge the law. Something else is going on there. It's for someone to perceive by the Creator what it really means. Can't do it. Can't do it over here. Can only try to put into the words to say it's something else, but I can't put into words what it really is, truly. The same with every other thing. Same with stealing, same with lying, same with murder, same with robbing temples, which is robbing from people. Can only try to put it into words what's being seen spiritually. That people are robbing from others by lying to them. That's how it sounds with words, but that's not the real thing, though. I can't do that, It's like you become desperate in a good way. Instead of desperately wicked, the Creator is desperately good. It might sound a little silly, but it's just showing something. The Creator is righteous and perfect and good, and you become the opposite over time. Is what when you become the opposite of the carnal man, the carnal heart that's desperately wicked. And he's proven this thing to me, that saying words doesn't do anything. It does nothing by itself unless someone's also seeking the Creator with their heart. Then they can understand what someone else is saying. But if not, they will not hear. Messiah being the perfect example, they cannot hear what he's saying. They cannot understand it. He's saying in words what he sees that the Father has given him in spirit and his mind to see. And we read what Messiah says, and they cannot hear his words. And we're not talking about hearing literal words. It's real. I mean, it's as real as it gets. It's literally real spiritually. You cannot hear and see. That's why it's very stupid, though, to act like you can see. And it's not true. This is a masquerade and a deceiver. Not honest. It's not hearing and speaking as the Spirit speaks and gives to hear and see, whatever it is, discerning. It's speaking out of lies and not knowing, and out of pride and only looking good and trying to accomplish something, which is making itself look good. Messiah's people won't make themselves look good. They're going to look like trash. We don't have to worry about that. Yes, it's a very good thing. I'm glad that's true. Trying is sin. As long as someone's trying with the flesh, they'll never see or never be able to overcome something, as long as they're trying with the flesh. But someone can see how that sounds a little weird. What does that mean? Trying with the flesh. Speaking of something you see in your mind, but this is how it comes out in words. Can't do any further. It's kind of funny and good at the same time. Can't do any better. It's impossible. The stupid false prophets out there, they don't know any better. They think they can actually save and teach people. In their heart, they actually believe they can do that. It's not possible. then someone will say in the carnal religion, why do what you're doing? I have a question for them. Why did Messiah do what he did when no one understood him and they all hated him? Let them answer that for themselves. They won't be able to. Because the fool folly is quickly exposed as being a hypocrite. You know, it just is what it is. And it's only truth. There is no sin in truth. It's for their benefit, but they don't believe that. They get some other thing. They replace this truth that it's for their benefit to hear sharp words and truth with no other intention. It's for their good. But they take these words that mean something spiritually, the right way to do it, and apply it to things like hell. Like, I don't want you to go to hell. It's for your good that I tell you you're going to burn in hell. They take that and create a monstrous carnal thing that has nothing to do with what it really means, but they use those words, and that's stealing his word. They're robbing. And then they lie to people and teach a lie, and it has nothing to do with that meaning. They make it sound like they're the ones that are, it's a false humility. It's nasty. They don't care. They don't even believe in this hell themselves. They don't have any faith, because it's got to be given someone that doesn't have, is carnal, doesn't actually believe in anything. That's the truth in its heart. It's an atheist. So when it says, I don't want you to go to hell, it's nasty because there's nothing true about it. So it's only saying that, taking some similar words that have something to do with truth and applying a different meaning to it completely. And it's not true. And it's not understanding and believing what it says. It's real nasty. It's only doing that to make it sound like it's good. My God's evil, but I would never do that to other people. Only saying that for some kind of crooked intention in the heart and not understand what it's actually even saying. Doesn't even know what it's saying, what it really means. That's what everyone ends up without the Father. Liars and fools. And all the believers were that also, perfectly. Liars and fools and hypocrites and snakes. The way the Creator made all things is that no one can actually boast. No one can actually do it. So if someone's boasting in their heart right now, the whole world, prideful in the heart, boasting, that's only in a delusion. It's not accepted. There's no reality. That's why it's like, please come to the Father, to come to the Creator. There's no reality over there. All that stuff's going to die and go away and be exposed and destroyed. Why are you clinging to what's going to be destroyed? That's what we're seeing, but we know that, it's just like you become in a desperate position because you can't point the finger in the same way they do, because you know what it takes. It takes a miracle. It takes the Father to show them mercy. And we want that. And we know that you can't just do that yourself, because it didn't happen like that for us. So it's a weird thing that happens with everything. Like, you want something, you could say the words, but it doesn't mean how the carnal man says it. He points with condemnation and blame out of pride. These are two massively different things. The difference between good and evil. Raising itself up as better and choosing good things. It's doing this because it doesn't know. It's doing these things because it has no confidence. Doing these things because it's insecure. It does it through pride and points a finger at someone and blames them with condemnation in the heart. You don't do this. And then you deserve, it's merciless. But we could say words similar to that, and it's not that's going on in the heart. They won't believe it because they don't know what that thing, the good thing is. They don't know what it is. They won't believe it. And you find out trying to get people to believe whatever you're saying is evil after you are shown that it cannot be so. Why would you try to do that when you find out from the Creator it cannot be so? Then you stop doing it that same way. You didn't know before that. What did they expect? What does the carnal man put on people? A heavy yoke and a burden. They do that, not people who are, in Messiah wanting to keep the commandments in their heart. They're learning about what his favor is, and that this heavy yoke is what they do, but they will, everything's backwards, and they'll say what they do and put it on Messiah's people every single time. It's monstrous. There's no yoke in the truth. There's no yoke, for heavy yoke and burden that's unbearable from the Creator in his way. That's a lie. His people don't do that. They're the ones that would know something about his mercy and how his truth, how we receive, how everything is starting to work. They know something about it. They're not the ones doing that. And if they did a little bit without knowing, we grow out of it. It's not saying we never did it the right way right from the beginning, but it's not coming from above. That evil thing is coming from beneath. It takes joy in putting people in debt. Whatever is in prison wants others to be in there. They just can't admit that that's what they want, because it looks bad. It makes them look evil, and that's sin to the devil. That's truly what that is in the heart. Whatever is in actual prison wants others there too. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And those that are being freed from prison want the same for others. Yes, it does. And these are the only two things. There's nothing in between. Good and evil, light and dark. Messiah is saying, we can read, it's not fake. It's from the heart. It's the Father's Spirit. It's who the Father is. Showing us who he is through the man, but, showing us because we need his Spirit, and we start learning who he is. He compels them to come in. It's real. He wants badly for them to believe and come, but they would not. Sound like God not getting what he wants? It's monstrous. It's blasphemy. That's blasphemy. That's the position we're put in. Not believed, hated by all for his name's sake that don't have him. That's where it's coming to. That's what's growing. It will go in that direction, only increasing. That's what I'm saying. It can't be any other way. If that's not growing, going in that direction, they must not be of Messiah. But maybe a little bit in the beginning for someone. But what I'm saying, no matter where someone is, it's going in that direction to perfection, hated by all for his name's sake. And if it's not growing in that direction, in reality, they're not of him. It's the truth. But this doesn't put any burden on someone, because if someone's 7, they're receiving hated by all for his name's sake. The age 7 of what a 7-year-old can handle. And when he's 15, he's receiving more. And it's still true. It's just not complete, perfectly, utterly yet, but it's going in that direction. It's still already true for them. They don't understand this thing of growing, that the kingdom grows and all the other things grow too. All the evil coming your way grows too. Just because it's not utterly, perfectly fulfilled in day 1, it doesn't mean someone's not a believer. They put the heavy yoke on people and burdens that can't be, that they don't lift with their own finger themselves, not even one. But putting someone under the law kills them. And then they say, we do that. Monstrous. There's all kinds of forms and ways to put someone under the law. It's a mindset. It's a belief in the heart. That's a heavy yoke and burden, because they command people from themselves and their own power to do what cannot be done, which is only going to receive judgment and condemnation, because they're, okay, let it be according to your word. Whoever says, I will do this, he shall do it. Like we read in scripture, you got to keep all the laws then. Okay, you say so, let it be according to the word. You will do it. Of yourself, of your own power, keeping all these spiritual laws in the heart. You got to do it now. And if you can't, only condemnation continually. See, that's being under the law, not going under his favor, under denial and dying with Messiah under his favor, where it's not put on the old man to do it. It's not required of self to do it. And yet we need to do it, no doubt. Not of self, but in the Father's own time. Need to do it. But he won't put a huge burden on it. He makes it come slowly, but surely it grows. And you come out of this world more and more and more and more. The burdens are spread out. So these people that don't understand what they're doing, they just dump a giant burden on them that's impossible. 70 years worth of burdens, day one, boom. And they're condemned continually spiritually. They're in destruction. You know, not having the Father, not having His Spirit is destruction. If that's true, then they have wrath, the devil, because there's only two things: serpent seed and the woman seed. There is nothing else. If they don't have the Father for real, His Spirit, then they have the devil's wrath in them. Woe, woe, woe to the earth. The devils come to you with wrath. That is the Father's wrath, not having Him through the enemy in them. And so then it's only wrath and constant bitterness and constant reminders of things that people have done to you. There's no actual forgiveness in the heart, you know, and it's just doing sin, 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 you know, and that's a heavy burden. Yeah, that's hard to bear. No one's good, not even one. None are righteous. No one believes it, save a few. Truly, no one believes it, save the few. Because no one else can understand or believe that. Because of pride, it's in the way. And He resists the proud. He doesn't give them understanding. He resists them. It's all showing the Creator and His power and His judgments, and that man is no good. That rebellion is just what man is only capable of doing. Without this delusional free will, oh, that's evil. While they teach about torturing people in hell for all eternity, that's not evil? What is this? You know, and like any other example, similar, just like that, with different things. Saying something that's good, whatever is true, is evil. But what? They say what they believe and teach and do is not evil? It's monstrous. First of all, the Creator isn't evil, but they'll accuse, you know, as enmity and hatred towards the Creator. It's to say He's evil. Whatever is good and true that comes from Him above is evil to them. And they'll never see that scripture they call good evil and evil good, and so many other scriptures that say it basically almost the same way. There's confusion between this good and evil. There's no difference between the two, not seeing any difference. It's just only evil and darkness. And so when it sees good, it calls it darkness also. On the flip side, the Creator sees darkness as if it's light. He sees right through it as if it's nothing. Well, that's what He's giving His people to see, right through the darkness, as if it is light. What is that? Well, that's like, to the pure, all things are pure, even the darkness. And we're not saying the literal darkness is literally pure, but the spiritual thing you're seeing, we could say these words that sound contradicting. Darkness is pure to those that have His light. All things are pure. It's like seeing right through darkness as if it doesn't exist, which means you see the evil works. You start seeing these things that people do with their heart. The very thing they can't see and think nobody else can see them. This is mocking the Creator with the heart, thinking no one else can see. When they attack, they think they're wise as a punishment. But it's never wise when it attacks and does evil. Here, I'll take my tools and put them in your box and then ask the person, where's my tools? Where's my tools? You want to check just in case there? And then you find their tools in your box, and they smirk. And in their mind, they proved you're a thief and wicked, and they walk away believing that. Yes, that is very stupid. And every attack will be just like that in its stupidity, blind, when there was no reality, no such thing happened, only in a delusional mind, because they want you to do evil, because light is exposing and threatening darkness. It's tormenting them. The presence of the Lamb torments them day and night. So they need to put sin and evil on you because he's not doing it. He's not doing it. It's crazy backwards. So they'll just put it on you and then say you did it, in an example like that I experienced face to face. And many things like it, just like it. And they'll never own up to it if they were to be spotted and say, why did you do this? Do what? What do you mean? I didn't do anything. No, I didn't do anything. I'm saying every single time someone that does that cannot, literally, I'm as serious and literal as I can, anyone that does those works cannot ever admit they did. They will deny it and sound convincing. Someone can start seeing what pride is, and that it's a God in its own heart, because it takes a God in its own heart to do those works. To be so incredibly prideful and say, I didn't do it when you did, is just saying, I'm God. I said I didn't, therefore I didn't. And when I say I do, I did. Oh, and by the way, I proved that person's evil because I did this work. I did this evil, threw mud at his face, and then says, you got mud on your face. You're evil. You just threw it. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. This is monstrous, man. Monstrous world. The monsters come out at night. I've heard this before. The demons come out at night. Wow, the foul spirits, man. They talk about their father that doesn't love them. They should stop sleeping and running with him. It would be good for them. But the only way to do good to someone is through truth, which they will hate, which is the only thing that's good for them. What kind of position has his people been set up to be in? Evil continually by this world. That's it. That's it. Someone can really appreciate this. For those that know the Father, they would be glad, rejoicing, if they heard the same things. I know it. Because it's a desert out here. Looking for life, and there is none. Looking for water and, greenery. And yet there's a green tree in front of me. Because we're not talking about the green trees. We're talking about the green trees that there's none. Where are they? So few. And it's not a desert in Oregon. And yet it's a desert over here. The only really things we start seeing and caring about. It's a desert. But to the carnal man, it's green, full of greenery and good. Nice. Just an example. And no example is literally perfect, because the Creator is not that image or thing, but it's a good natural picture of something like the true that the Creator is, but it's not literally that perfectly. And it takes some spiritual sight to see that. What is it like being born again from above? It's like a child being born. It's very simple. And then he needs to learn and grow things that he literally has no clue of. It screams, it cries, it needs to be fed some milk. And then it goes away from mother and father. When it grows up a little, it cleaves to his own wife. And when people actually do this the right way, when they're actually doing this, the world will hate you and say you hate them. Can you believe it? I can't believe it. And yet I can believe it. And yet I can't believe it. Because they're children. and extraordinarily insecure and prideful still. When they see what's good that's not insecure and prideful, they will call it hatred and evil, because you don't need to be needed in a cowardly, fearful, insecure way like they still do. So they'll call this good thing evil. And the only way to actually start loving, caring about someone is not being a little baby, because babies don't know how to love or care or do anything yet. It's all backwards. The very thing they see, they betray and murder and say that's evil. And that's the only way someone can actually love or care, is what they see. Isn't that something? Is to not be insecure continually, is to finally start growing up, for real, spiritually growing up, starting to look like the old man that's supposed to represent being wise, grown up and wise. Yeah, but you can be a literal old man and be a fool and have no wisdom in you, because that's just what it's supposed to look like spiritually. It doesn't mean it is. And all those that are not born again from above, they will be in due time, because they were literally born. Don't they believe the Father's creation and natural picture? Don't they believe that he's good to all and will do good to all? That he puts laws in the whole entire creation, the literal creation. So how much of his creation, all the people, will he not do these good things for? None. He'll do it to all. He already did, if someone could see it. And yet he didn't, and yet he did, and yet it's done, and yet it's not done. And it was, and it's not, and it is to come, and it's out going to perdition. It's happening over and over spiritually, and it even happens naturally. It's a weird thing. This world and Hollywood does weird things. When a snake sheds its skin, people they talk about their alter ego. This is a spiritual wicked thing. They're talking about that they themselves are not understanding the way they need to. When someone needs that to be true because of the prison they're in, so they can just escape and run from it and become the other guy. It's the devil's way of receiving a new name. But here's what happens when a snake, the devil, does it. It sheds its skin, comes out of it, and it receives a new name, and the skin is the old name, and it's still a serpent. Yeah, that's the devil's way of trying to do what the Creator does, but cannot. But the new name is dying to the old man and receiving something new, something the enemy cannot do, and actually becoming new and not the same thing. The old thing's dying, the old name, and then the new, the Creator gives. But a serpent sheds its skin, and it's still a serpent after it does it with its new name and alter ego. It's still wicked. It's still a serpent. Pretty amazing. I think it's amazing. Because that natural picture is happening spiritually. I can see it. People do this. As if it's good, and the point is it's evil. It's still a snake. It's not good. It's the opposite of good. It's deception and trickery, and it's still the same exact evil. So yeah, people will do that here and there. People will fake their death or whatever they do and become someone else to sort of it's a deception. It's a lying wonder, but even naturally, but spiritually, the heart doing this always. But I'm saying I'm even seeing even naturally, the beast comes, it goes away, it comes back. It's always been true. This is what deception is. It doesn't care about people if it's ready to do a deception that grand. All the fans cheering someone that did that. It's worshiping someone that hates them, because someone that does that grand of a deception and a lie has zero of a heart and care for all those fans. And I mean zero, a giant zero. Perfectly zero. No way someone does those works and can actually care. They don't. And we're talking about real things. They literally don't care in their heart, in their soul, in their mind and heart. They don't care. In fact, the opposite is true. They'll mock with disgust inside because of being punished for doing this monstrous thing. It will actually hate those that love this evil thing it does. It's confusion. And every now and then, these people, these popular people, slip up and say things that their heart has always been. They hate the fans that worship them. They hate it all. But they can't stop their greed. It's like they've been handed over to their sins and lusts, so they complete them and cannot stop doing what they're doing. But they hate all those people. They don't care about them. When they're alone, they're in destruction, utter destruction. They don't give a crap about some signature. It's stupid. There's no reality to it. What's it mean? It's worthless. So that's the judgment on it. He's not blessing that. So it's all out of disgust and delusion. Do they make a show for it? Sure. Yes, most do a pretty good job of making a show for smiling and waving and acting like they care. We're watching a picture show. It's not real. We're watching sheepskin. All you do is peel it off and see it. It's always a wolf. Now we got cameras and images. It's like a double projector. It's like the man was already projecting an image, and now he's got a camera to hide behind on and project the double image. It's getting a little blurry. It's like being drunk and seeing more than one image. Well, that's what it's like spiritually. When we're spiritually drunk, seeing a bunch of things that aren't real and images that you want to see, not knowing the difference between anything. It's really bad, man. How could someone trust anything what they see behind a camera? And I'm talking about actually just like, like people do. They watch something, whatever, behind a camera, behind these people, popular people. I don't care if some of this stuff they say is like some carnal truth. That's not the point. That means nothing. It's worthless. I'm not saying they never say some carnal truth like that. Like, do you like fish? And they say yes. Yeah, that happens. Just carnal truth when, stupid, worthless thing. The point is, behind the camera, it was already an act, and now it's a double act. Nothing can be trusted with the heart. It's monstrous. They're just putting an image and projecting what they want to people to see. That's it. Just projecting an image of what they want. But mankind has always been projecting an image of how they want other people to see themselves. This is a deception and a delusion. You can never be what you are, because what someone is a wolf. So they need to project an image of what they want people to see, which is something other than a wolf. Because of the Father's judgments, this is true for everyone. I don't know how else to explain it. Because of his judgments and the way he set it up, that if someone's in sin like this, it has to go down like this. They're trapped in their own pit. They dig their own graves and fall in it. What's weird and scary? They love death. People, those in death, love death. And they're chasing a destruction for a reward. On the other side of the United States, I got some family. There's a lion, and they all live in like a circle, and it's some family members and stuff, family. On the other side there, across the states, there's a lion king in the pack of the others, and he rules over them, and there's a weird cowardly fear, and they can't get out of his grip. Whatever he says and does is so, and you can never tell him anything that he does wrong, even if it takes 12 years to do a little remodeling in the house. No big deal. You can't say, hurry up, hire some people. Just being God, just controlling people constantly all day long. It's all it ever does. And it bought everyone's grave and says, this is where you're going to be buried. And it's paid for, and here's the spots. Let's go and see this thing. And we pass by and watch this amazing work that this guy did. He controls the people all the way till death and buys their own grave and pays for it and said, this is where you're going. This is man. Spirit is sick. It makes me want to rage. But not like an evil kind of rage. You know, there's no such thing to this world. Yeah, you can only feel sorry for these people, you know. It's a punishment. It's a judgment to be under the yoke of someone like that. That's why people can't escape their relationship so often. It's a sad condition. They need help, and people just do evil to them and tell them lies and what they want to hear. Point the finger, blame, and condemn. They already know everyone's else. That's all everyone ever does. And then what the saddest thing of all is when they actually see someone, they see the real care, they murder you. The only thing they've been waiting for to see, hoping to see in some kind of way, in some kind of little way. And when they see it for a little while, they murder you because it exposes that they're not that. It murders the only thing that cares. Okay, enjoy all the other people that don't care. Enjoy the murder and condemnation and hypocrisy and slavery for all those that don't care. You know, and I'm only saying that it's like it's the carnal, it's become stupid, is what I'm saying. Sin brings stupidity. But there's nothing sadder than that. Dead. The only one that cares, you know. The only one that cares. They kill them. I've heard something about some Bible and like bleeding through or something. Someone told me, don't worry about something bleeding through your page or something because Christ's blood bled through. And like the people go, wow. You know, I'm not saying this out of like making fun of them with condemnation. The actual thing is stupid and doesn't mean anything. It's a deception, man. That's what they're there for. The preach in front of these giant congregations is even worse. They try to wow the crowd with these stupid things that don't mean anything. It just kind of sounds good, and they're like, wow, they're stuck to worshiping. And when someone worships someone, they become like a slave to them. You know, they can control you and manipulate you. The exact opposite of what it's supposed to be. The true way. Truth. Doing good works is never controlling someone and making a slave controlling. How is that possible when Messiah got below his disciples' feet and no one is greater than the master, meaning the highest? And to me, this is like a huge thing. I mean, it's a big picture. This is what he taught. This is what it is spiritually. The highest someone in Messiah could go is below someone. That's it. And serve them. There is no control spirit. There is no stepping on someone. The master didn't go higher than the disciples, and no one's greater than his master. What do they think that means in religion? Well, they're not doing it. They're standing on the pulpit, breaking it as they speak. The heart is already breaking it. Standing behind the pulpit or on it. Maybe they've jumped on it sometimes when they really got loony toony and made the crowds go wow even more or something. I don't know. The Father has made a fool out of this world. The wisdom of this world is foolish, man. If the best of what this world is foolishness, what is the foolish? What is beeping on my phone? It's annoying. Then the foolishness of this world is, I mean, incredibly bad if the wisdom of this world is foolishness. It's saying something really bad. All right. It's gonna send me an order. Really? That's not my text tone. Okay, I guess I gotta go. All right. All right. Well, let's let the filthy be filthy still and the righteous be righteous still, because of all these things. It's going to be like that anyway. Sounds harsh, sounds cruel, doesn't know what it means. When you use it properly, this scripture, with understanding, they will hate it. What is their heart saying? That the Father's word there, and what these things mean, doing these things, always having some kind of thing to do and keep, is evil. You can't do that. You can't keep that. That's the enmity. That's the enmity. All right. I'm going to go here. I got to finish up this thing. Peace, take care, seek truth.